The Sunday dinner chef will make you feel fine. Sit down, let's have a drink and enjoy the show.
Everybody, welcome to Food Chat today on the Sunday Dinner Chef. Today's guest is Grumpus on Fire, great barbecue channel, great guy, good friend of mine. And guess what? Today we're going to be talking about, you guessed it, food. Let's go to the podcast. This is Tom, the Sunday Dinner Chef, and today on our podcast, I have Grumpus on Fire. Grumpus on Fire Barbecue is a great channel. You need to go check it out. And a good friend to the channel, and we became good friends on it. Mr. Grumpus, how are you doing?
I am doing great, Tom. Thanks for having me up.
No, I thought of you when I was going to start doing this, especially with the food side of it, is because your calm demeanor on camera was. I was saying, wow, look at this guy, nice and even keeled and everything like that. Maybe I can do the same thing.
Well, I have to talk slow. I'm trying to think of something to say.
So what this whole thing is I'm trying to bring as many people as I can, people that I know that cook that are foodies. We're all, foodie, not restaurateurs or anything like that. Backyard cooks, people who like to dabble with food and not afraid to go out and burn something.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So I thought of you first because you seem to be you're not afraid to switch things up, okay? And that's the problem, I think, with a lot of people is they got to follow the recipe. Give me that paper. What's the recipe? And looking, a quarter spoon of this, that's not really what it's all about.
I'm a rule breaker.
Me too. I mean, the whole idea is, you're going to follow a recipe and all of a sudden turn around and say, well, that didn't come out right. It didn't taste right. No, that's not what it's all about. It's about what you come up with, how you break the rules, change the rules. But the whole idea is to have fun and enjoy it. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
So, just a couple. I know looking through your channel and stuff like that. You got a couple major ones out there that really hit a nerve with me because, wow, the way it was explained, okay, how you detailed it, how it went through, and like I said, the calm demeanor on doing it, where it really got interesting. I mean, it really each cook, from then on when I started watching you more and more, how nice and calm and well explained and stuff like that. What's the secret?
On how I do it?
Yeah, what's your secret?
Well, the thing is, there are so many cooking channels out there to where, they'll introduce what they're going to do. You show them they show you opening a package, slapping it on the grill, pulling it off. There's a lot of stuff between A and B that is not being explained. And I know my channel's not for the pit masters, but Joe Smith up the street, when his kids and his wife buy him a new pit or a new grill for Father's Day, and he don't have a clue what to do, that's my target audience. I want don't be afraid. We're not putting people on the mood. It's just fire, and it's just a little animal, and we'll take care of that.
Yeah, and that was the nice thing that I seen about it, because I want to see more people cook and not follow Julia Child's recipe, from beef bourguignon and stuff like that. That's not what I'm about. The whole idea is how do I want this to taste? Okay, I know. Yeah. Now I lived in Texas for a while, in Katy, Texas, and the thing that cracked me up was even with some of the barbecue stuff is the bark. Put the bark on the brisket and everything. It's like,
yep.
Well, when I lived in Texas, okay, you went into Luther's or someplace, they slapped that brisket up on top, took the bark right off.
Slide that knife right across the top.
and just sliced it up.
Let me have the knife.
And I looked around and went, wait a minute.
I've seen him do that.
But that's how it's done. So, I mean, not all the places, but that's, how everybody does it.
Right.
So, I mean, just to get it right and with the trimming and all the stuff like all that way, do you have certain, let me ask you to start with, okay? When did you know? Okay, at what age did you know that you really liked food and you wanted to dabble with it a little bit with with cooking and stuff like that?
Well, that's an interesting question. Even when I was a kid, I'm talking, 8, 9, 10 years old. Uh, the only cooking shows on was Julia Child's. I'm sorry,
That's
uh,
okay.
Julia Child's, Galloping Gourmet, and maybe one other one that might show up once a week on PBS.
Yeah.
And I'd sit glued watching that. And I always had an interest in that, but I really didn't start cooking until I got in my 30s.
Okay.
And that's when I don't know why. I guess I don't know why. I don't know what started it, but I've always had an interest, and I've always I've always been on the artistic side of academics, and this
Okay.
gave me a relief. This gave me some sort of an outlet, an artistic outlet, if you will, to make good food, make good presentations, and then I got into doing the videos. That's just another part of the expression,
Sure.
actually creating something from nothing. But I had an interest in cooking for a long, long time before I actually did it. In fact, it's probably I come down here when I was 24 and got my first grill smoker, an old Smoky, at my apartments. That's all I could have,
Right.
and it took off from there. And that was back in 78,
Okay.
79.
Very interesting because growing up, me growing up, my mom was a cafeteria manager for the school system. Okay, so and my grandmother was still alive at that time, and just just food was always there. It was always around, and then I sort of got into it. Hot dog wagon. I had it was just I was always around it, and I was
Uh-huh.
just wondering, same thing. And you listen to people like you just brought up Old Smoky. That happened to be one of the best
It's
picked
They
grills,
still
whatever.
sell them right here in
Yeah,
Houston. They're made right here in Houston.
I mean, you couldn't kill that thing. And I'm going to tell you honestly, I thought it made chicken the best. Bank the
Yeah,
fire to one side, indirect cooking,
yeah,
put the
yeah.
chicken on the other side. Oh, man, it was fantastic. So, um, dabbling with it, hibachi was the thing also. Okay,
The little
I know
cast iron Apache. Yeah, yeah.
little
I had one of
hibachi.
those on my deck in Indiana.
I mean, it's just, and it's not just made for hot dogs and hamburgers. And that's the other thing that I was going to get at with you today is also cooking other things on it. Like people, you can bake bread with it. You can, I mean, there's a whole thing about it, and that's what caught my eye with your channel was managing the fire. All right, and that's a big thing that people overlook. A lot of people just start the fire,
Yeah,
get it
it's an art.
going, throw meat on it, and burn it or whatever, however they cook it, and then go from there.
There is an
So,
art to managing that fire. There really is.
so starting out, I mean, cooking and everything else like that. What was your favorite thing? I mean, back then we're both basically the same age, so
Hmm.
as far as with different types of meats and stuff like that, with ribs and stuff, I always got sort of caught up between the Chinese Oriental cooking, which I love. Okay, and with the barbecue, that was way before pull off the bone. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah,
Tender.
yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? So even like we talked about, and the old Smoky was what was your go-to? I mean, as far as ribs, chickens, or or brisket, beef, steaks.
Well, in the beginning, I mean, we did a lot of chicken and pork
Okay.
chops because that's what we could afford. And it wasn't until many years later when I got better employment, uh, better grills, that I got into the ribs and that kind of stuff. And even briskets, I remember doing briskets on a gas charcoal combo grill. But
Yeah.
you learn. That's where you learn to manage the fire.
Right.
I mean, I've got a really nice pit now, and
Yeah.
it just cooks so easy. But I had tested a lot of that because of the learning curve I had to go through with inferior grills and making those work. So when you finally get your hands on something decent, man, it makes you look like a hero.
Yeah, and you got to go check Grumpus' site out because he got a lot of great videos out there that on there actually bringing his pit, the pit that he bringing it into his
Oh,
backyard. I mean, just to watch it and see the patience that he had bringing it in and the whole bit, it's astounding. There again, getting into what you like to do and the price you actually got to pay. With Doan's pill at the end of the night rubbing your back,
oh, geez.
bringing.
Well, I mean, my wife, she couldn't understand why I bought it. I bought that monster. I told her, I says, well, if you stop and think about it, about every 3 summers, maybe if I'm lucky, I get 4 summers out of a grill or a
Mhm.
smoker or whatever you want to call it, and I just burn them up because I cook in the summertime. I cook outside almost every night if the weather's permitting.
Yeah,
So I told her, I said, I'm figuring up how much, 300 here, 400 there. Catch something on sale for 200, last you a summer and a half. I've probably already paid for that big monster pit. I just didn't have it. So I
exactly.
told her, I said, I want to buy one more pit that'll probably outlast me,
Right,
and I can stop trying to collect pits. Do one does this good, and one does that good. This here is pretty versatile,
right.
and most of my videos are around showing the versatility of it. I mean,
You
I've
know,
done chili on the flat top. I've baked cornbread on in the side. I mean, you can cook anything on it,
yeah,
but it all
yeah.
boils back down to fire management and knowing
And
your
I th-
routines.
and I think people get the wrong idea, wrong conception of it of barbecue. Okay, people think of barbecue. Barbecue sauce got to go on it because it's on the barbecue, and
Yeah,
no, we can't cook that on it. No, it's fire. It's just like your stove has fire. You know what I mean? You can
absolutely.
actually cook anything on with the fire. You know what I mean? So especially like you're in Texas. So Texas, you have maybe maybe 2 3 months of cold weather, but other than that, everything is basically outside.
Pretty much.
And to cook to cook your different stuff, different dinners and stuff on it. I mean, you could go whole hog Italian.
Well, let's face it. It's electricity bill so high. Why would you want to heat the house up in the summer?
Exactly. Well,
Try to
for
keep
instance,
all that heat outside when I can.
right today when we were recording this, I was all getting ready. I got my Monument Grill. I was going to do a cookout there. It rained for about 4 hours, and then just hail was coming down. I mean, I never seen that before. I mean, it's just completely crazy. Um, getting older, like you said, with things, you have a little bit more patience doing stuff. You have a little bit more money to buy what you want. You can get a little, you can go out on a limb as far as buying different meats and stuff. But necessarily, you don't really have to spend a lot of money to eat well,
You don't have to.
especially especially today's prices and stuff like that. And I just did a thing on it last week about some of the meat prices come down. This is the first time I've seen a ribeye, a boneless ribeye, under $200. It was
Wow.
like $163. Is it going to stay that way? I don't know. I have no worry about it. But my mindset is I don't have to eat that. I don't have to have ribeyes. Okay. My challenge now is to take a tough cut of meat and make it tender. So that's the new play on what I'm doing as far as anybody can take a whole filet mignon, take your paycheck and take half of it for
Oh yeah.
a tender cut of meat and do it that way. But my whole thing now is show people, don't get discouraged. I mean, you can take it a different way, braise on a grill. You can do whatever. I mean, it's just not like I said, just not made for barbecue sauce. What people's conception of that's what it's all about. What do you
Well,
think?
I think a big part that people overlook when it comes to cooking and the different meats and stuff like that is food preservation. Like it's just me and the wife here. I got no business cooking a 17-pound brisket,
Exactly.
but I like to. And if I catch something on sale and I want to do it, then that's only half the equation. Half of it is not letting any of it go to waste.
Right. Right.
And so, having vacuum machines to store it for a little bit longer so you can have it later. A lot of times I give my food away. I take it into work or I'll hand it. It's not uncommon for me to call my neighbor and say, "Hey, bring a plate over,"
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
and
And
we do it that way.
that's a matter of fact. In the next couple of weeks, I have my neighbors where I live. I'm going to invite them over. Just going to do picky foods and stuff like
Uh-huh.
that. Yeah, because we're at the age right now. I don't know who can have salt, who can't have this, who can't have
Hey,
that.
we're not supposed to eat anything.
Exactly. So
Even
we're
the
just going to
water's
have.
bad for you.
Yeah. Exactly. If you let it, if you let it get to you, yeah, sure. The whole idea is the younger people now. It's too easy to pick up the phone and get Grubhub and all that stuff. Now, don't get me wrong. Back in my younger days, we ate just about everything, but I was in the kitchen most of the time, so I had like a little bit leg up on different. Not just burgers every day or something,
Right,
something like that, or
right.
that type of junk food. But it's real hard to try to you know teach them or let them understand what's going on. Now, my two grandsons, okay, one could care less about cooking. All he wants to do is
Right,
eat. He could care less. All right,
right.
but the older guy, he shows a little interest in it. And 22 shows a little interest in it, and then I'm trying to teach him and stuff like that. But as soon as I leave, they go right back to the same way. So I think we need to more education as far as like with YouTube and stuff like that, the how to.
That's what I'm trying to do. I mean, I never get on and say this is how you do it. I just say this is what I'm doing.
Right.
You want to
Exactly.
follow along, fine, but put your own spin on it.
Yeah.
Now, I've
Yeah.
I've gotten into discussions before about pellet grills, set them and forget them. And why would you want to do a brisket for 16 hours when you can crank up the heat and get one done 11?
Right.
Well, I like the whole romance of the process. I like tending the fire. I like sitting next to it, smelling the smoke. I like parking my tail in a chair. You know, but this is the one thing that forces me to slow down. I'm a pretty busy guy through the week,
Right.
but this forces me
To
to
relax.
sit down, relax, enjoy the garden, enjoy the wildlife around, and just take it easy. Just take a Saturday off and just take it easy, and not feel guilty because you're fixing dinner, right?
Yeah.
You started it 12 hours ago, but it's still going to be dinner in another 4.
Exactly. When I was younger, me and my older brother, my dad worked for I guess you want to call it a prison for kids. Okay. He was
Okay.
the carpenter. My dad was a cabinet maker, and so in his later years, he went to work for the state, and he became the carpenter there. So he would get called to go and fix a window. Kids try to break out. So I don't know what the age group was, but over there they had a farm, right? And he brought this little pig, and we had the bar at the time. We had the bar just before we got the restaurant. But he took this little pig and he opened the door and let the pig loose inside the bar. People go, "What the hell is that?" They
The
go, "What
rat.
is this?" It's a rat, big rat. Oh, smells like pork chops. But we raised that pig, and our neighbor down the road from us put up a pen. We put the pig in the pen. So when it came time to
Yep.
barbecue him, we can put him on the spit. We had a my brother's neighbor was a machinist, had a machine shop, and he made this rig up, this spit, okay? And we put the pig on the spit and the whole bit. I cleaned it, shaved it, okay? And got it prepped to go on. We put the whole thing on. So we take it back to my brother's house, and we put the pit underneath two maple trees, okay? Nice shade, and everybody's sitting there, and we just get the pig going, and it's working real well. It's spinning. Everybody's starting to have a few drinks. All right, now it's getting a little dark. All right. Next thing you know, everybody was just about passed out until we heard the sirens going off. All right. Well, the pig caught on fire and started the trees on fire. So lesson learned. Don't do it that way. So sitting out and try to relax. Don't drink. But I mean, that was my first experience with the pig. But then when I moved to North Carolina, we did whole hog. Okay,
Oh,
and
everything's whole hog over there, I think.
yeah, and we just I mean I had a big pit, and we would put it on a rack, spin it around. But there was nothing more relaxing at that time to
Yes.
kick back, fix what you had to do. You had your timing. I had an old fellow with me. He would go over and he'd touch the pit. Okay, time to flip it.
Uh,
All them little tricks and stuff like that. As you get older, it
yeah.
really pays off. It's education. You know.
Well, I've been in my house over 40 years. I've done a lot of work for my garden and things like that, but I never had time to enjoy it. This forces me to sit in a chair, enjoy what I've done, get up, putter around a little bit, spend the day outside. Being outside is a whole lot better than being cooped up in the house.
I want to let people understand also that you just don't barbecue. You cook regular food. You cook inside.
Oh yeah, yeah. I cook. I do 90% of the cooking here.
Me too. I do just about the same thing. Oh, like Marie watches this. Hun, you really do a good job. Don't worry about it. None. Uh, what is your like your favorite food? But what do you enjoy more? Seafood, beef or
I probably lean toward the seafood.
see, we are so much alike. It's
You
it's
know,
it's
anything
scary.
anything with a shell needs to get away from me. But
Yeah.
fresh fish on the grill, man, you can't beat that.
Right. Right.
We go down, I go down to Kima and pick up maybe a red snapper or something like that, and bring it home and stuff it, put it on the grill, cook it whole. I really enjoy that. But yeah, that's hard to pick one.
Hmm.
'Cause I like pretty much anything.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there again, getting back to to teaching and showing people what it is. It doesn't have to be regimental. It doesn't have to be, in the restaurant business, you had to have a protein, you had to have a starch, vegetable, okay, bread on the table, and half the time I probably killed people, with so much starch and
Yeah,
and high carbs and stuff. But that was the regiment that you had to go through. But that necessarily you don't have to have that way. I mean,
no,
you can sit down and have a nice steak with nothing else. You know, you can have. I remember in Texas. Damn it, if I can remember the name of the place, it might have been something like the Loaded Potato or something like that. But there was a place out there that you went, and you got baked potatoes. They were that big, and they were stuffed with just about anything you wanted.
oh yeah, at the Papa's restaurants. If you go to the Papa's barbecue, that baked potato size football,
So,
but it
I
should be at
mean,
$14.
you get 3 bags for that for crying out loud. But I guess my point is that it doesn't have to be. I know I know people that turn around and say, I just don't have time to prepare for it. I don't have time for the week, with the kids taking them to school, blah blah blah. And I guess my smart ass remark or response is, yeah, I guess it's kind of tough to binge watch Netflix and make popcorn and sit there and eat that while you can be making decent nutrient food for your family. That
Well,
goes
you've
over
got.
like a fart in church.
I look at a lot of times I'll cook on a Saturday or a Sunday, and I cook enough for the whole week.
Yeah,
If
that's
I'm out doing a brisket, there's no reason I can't throw some ribs on there with it, throw some sausage on there with it, and pack that stuff up and have something different every night of the week.
yeah, exactly. See, me and you think alike as far as that's concerned, and what we cook. I'm I watch some of the barbecue channels, and I get a little nervous, get a little squeamish when I watch them trim up a brisket. Okay, because back in the day we used to do a lot of brisket. All right? I
Yeah.
used to make corned beef pastrami's for the restaurant, and watching them trim them things up. I know it's all for show and stuff like that for competitions and everything,
Yeah.
and it looks nice. But there's some procedures that you really don't need to be doing at home, and that's what scares people, I think, a little bit. spend that kind of money, trim all that down. You get something with a fat cap on it. It's 2.5, 3 inches. Trim that down. I get heart palpitations looking at it. So I mean,
Well, the more brisket you're cooking, the less you're going to be trimming.
that's a good way of looking at it. Yeah,
I'll take my time on one, but if I had six,
yeah,
I'm gonna hit it with a potato peeler and call it a job.
yeah. I kind of get that. We used to do a ton of lobster. Okay, to the point where we used to get every other day. We used to get 300 to 400 pounds of lobster coming in. We had a 500-gallon tank. So base average would be like 200 pounds of lobster a night. Okay, we go through.
Wow, it's a lot of lobster.
So we had prime rib steaks and stuff like that. So we had steamers and everything. Put 10, 12 in two steamers, 10 each, 24 lobsters at a time, and start cracking them, clean them out, and then we'd stuff them. Crab meat and this and that, butter, white wine, up in the salamander, out it goes. I did so many lobsters at one point, Grumpus, my hands started turning red, okay, from the iodine. And God forbid I rub my eye or stuff like that. My eye would get swollen. Like
Oh,
I
no.
looked like I went through like 10 rounds with Ali, at the end of the night. And then also with the prime rib and getting the prime ribs ready. We used to hang racks of ribs, and so we were pretty versatile with it. My point is, I don't want to be long winded. You're the guest, but my whole idea was, I didn't want to eat that food anymore. I get done at the end of the night. I get in the car. We go into the city. I'd have galamata. I'd have shrimp. I'd have something
Oh yeah,
different. You know what I mean?
absolutely.
Something totally different. So it doesn't have to be a sit down dinner every night. You can get away feeding your family just about anything else other than thinking that it's going to be a big meal. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
We don't eat too fancy around here.
Yeah, yeah. I made cheese the other night. I made a homemade regatta cheese, and that's also the same recipe you can make queso fresco. Same thing. It's just the drying process. Which one's a little bit moist versus dry? To crumble.
Okay.
And Marie mix it up with some pasta or something like that. That was dinner. It was fantastic. So really don't have to get too wrapped up into making sit down dinners and stuff. And as you're just going out for the younger people. What's your go to stuff at home?
Well, I mean, after work, I don't have a lot of time. I don't want to come home and do a lot of cooking. I mean, tonight, getting ready before all this.
Hmm.
Uh, I had a late lunch today, so we're going to have a later supper.
Okay.
And I threw together a spaghetti sauce before I joined up with you tonight. It's sitting in there, just the longer it goes, the better it's going to be.
Hmm.
And when it's time, the wife will boil up some spaghetti, and we'll do that.
Yeah, nothing like it. I mean, it's very simple to do. I mean, we all got to eat. So I mean, I have the keto channel also, and my whole thing is, you can have carbs. You can have some kind of carbs. I just rail against the sugar and stuff like that. So if I'm going to have carbs, like we did the
Yeah,
other night,
yeah.
I'll try to walk it away, the rest of the week, and I just try to, be a little bit more leaner. But I tell everybody, you don't have to cut your nose off to spite your face, because you want to be so many carb free or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's just like I told you, we just made the spaghetti sauce. We won't eat all that tonight. So another night this week, we'll probably do a chicken breast or something like that, and have a side of maybe a Parmesan chicken or something like that, so I can use some more of that sauce.
Yeah, yeah.
So we don't have to eat spaghetti 3 nights a week just to use it up.
Now, one thing we talked about a lot is that I know you also like your gas grill and stuff like that. Also,
Well, it's easy through the week.
exactly, exactly. Now, weekend becomes now you get time to go and hit the wood burner
Yeah,
and go out from there. But during the week, there's nothing wrong with it. People get confused. You know,
it's
actually, you
just
can get
fire.
into an argument. You can get
It's
into an
just
argument over it,
fire.
right?
It's
It's
just fire. I mean, I smoked up a pork tenderloin this last weekend, and I got a little smoking tray that I put in there with it, and it tastes just like it'd come off the grill or off
Yeah.
my big smoker. The only thing is, I didn't have to burn up all that wood to get it going.
Right. Right. And that's the other thing. Cooking smart as far as, I mean, if you want to have a bunch of people come over and show off on, I did that cook with Monument Grill, and I tell you what, and I'm pushing that at all, but I was very surprised at the gas grill because 9 times out of 10, if you get a lot of grease coming off the meats and oil and
Oh
fat and
yeah,
stuff, that'll you'll have
it
a barn burner going with
it'll
that.
light up in a hurry.
But this didn't do it. I mean, it just did not do it. I mean, when we went through, we served 1,000 people, is what we said. We had Texas raised wagyu, almost like a fajita, okay, but bigger.
Okay.
All right, and we went through quite a bit of that. Put it on the grill and very fatty the whole bit, and the drippings down. And I'm telling you what, it really held up really, really, really well. So I mean, the difference between there again, we keep going back to the gas and the fire and stuff like that. There's so many different things you can cook on. By the time you start the fire, like on a weekend, even when you are cooking something, you could cook some other stuff on your pit.
Oh yeah, yeah, and of course it averages about an hour by the time I light the match to I'm ready to put food on. It's about 50 minutes, something like that.
Okay,
Well, sometimes I don't get home from work till 6:30, maybe 7 o'clock. I don't have an hour to wait for a fire,
that's right.
but I could snap a gas grill on, have it heated up and ready to go in 5 minutes. So
Yeah,
that's why I use it through the week. Is it as much fun? No, it isn't. It's just a tool to get the job done.
yeah, yep, 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 yep.
And
Which,
some
which
tools you like to play with, and some of them you just use them because that's the tool to use at the time.
the other night I was getting ready. Like I said, I got that little monument. I was going to get ready, and my whole purpose of that is they were going to give me a big one, right? And I said, no, I can't have it. But the little one, okay, I'm going to do different stuff on it. I'm going to do rice on it. I'm going to, make all different kinds of stuff, not just hamburgers and hot dogs. And I think that's the parallel. I think that's where people get confused. Okay, not everybody's a foodie like we are. You know what I mean? But I can't cook on that because it's made for barbecue.
Yeah, see, I don't see things that way. I see it as a tool.
That's right, exactly right. And that's
Just like I got three different hammers that do three different things. I can have different cookers that they all cook.
yeah,
They all have heat. It's just some of them are more easy, and some of them are quicker.
yeah.
But I've got a pellet grill. I've got a pellet grill I've had for this is the fourth summer, still in the box. Well, you know, I got it because it was a deal. I just got a deal, and I figured, okay, well, I'll let that replace the gas grill when it finally burns up. Because my brother has one just like it, and he says he can have his ready to cook in about 10 minutes.
Wow,
And
I
I
never
said,
cooked
well,
on one.
I said if it'll go that fast, then I'll use it when the gas grill burns up.
Yeah, man. I
But
mean, if it can heat up that fast,
we'll see. That thing's probably full of rats by now.
meat's already there.
Probably,
Comes with meat.
probably chewed up all the wires.
I never cooked on one. Never ever did.
I haven't either.
And I'm sure I would like it.
Well, I'm sure I would too. I got nothing. I got no argument against somebody who wants to use them because I can understand it. There's
Yeah,
there's a big convenience there, and if it get you almost stick burner quality, then why not use it? But like
sure.
I said, I like playing. I like playing with the fire. I like parking my tail in a chair.
Yeah. Marie watched me the other day take that. It's only a little 22-inch grill, but I took, and I when I go shopping, I look at all different aspects of what convenient for me. Okay, like tinfoil. I have a big roll. It's probably 7 miles long. You know what I mean? Buy the bulk stuff. Same
Yeah,
thing with
yeah.
the cling wrap and stuff. But I buy these little sheets because with the little grill and stuff, anything that I use, I usually wrap it in the tinfoil, okay, for cleanup.
Right, right.
So when I use I have an electric smoker. So when I get ready to smoke with that, on the bottom of it, I put these sheets of tinfoil in. Okay, there's some going to get on it. It's not going to stay completely clean, but
Yeah.
that's my little, my little, I guess my pet peeves that I do. Put the
Yeah.
tinfoil in there to clean it up. Makes life easier afterwards.
Oh yeah,
And
cleaning the grill's the worst.
yeah, I mean it's just, you know, in Florida I had actually set up an outdoor kitchen. So I had all different varieties of tools, okay, or equipment that would do different things, just like you
Uh-huh.
would do inside the house. And then, but once I get done, when I come back out and look at it and go, we get the hose out, and, the whole bit with it. But toys are nice. It's nice to have all different kind of stuff, and you also got to know what you want them for, what you want to use them
Yeah,
for.
yeah.
You
I
know,
mean, if you're using them, you can justify the expense.
yeah, yeah.
Now that thing that I've got, if I only fired it up every 6 months, that was a sinful waste of money. But my wife would tell you, if weather permitting, I've got that thing fired up 3 weekends out of the month.
How heavy is that thing?
When I picked it up, he told me it was probably just a little over 1,500 pounds. When we
Wow,
when we
wow, wow.
when, when we went to roll it to the back, it's on the video. It was breaking my deck boards.
Yeah, I've
Now,
seen you
now,
with.
now they were old boards. I'll give it that, but still, it was. And I've got to move that thing again here in another month or two, and I don't know how I'm going to move it
Oh Jesus! Oh
because
man! Oh
it's
man!
so top heavy.
Yeah, yeah. Now, you can burn any kind of fuel in that? I mean, as far as wood, or you can lump charcoal and stuff like that. Just
Oh
about
yeah,
anything,
yeah. I've
right?
used charcoal, lump charcoal. Generally, I use charcoal to start the coal
Okay.
bed. So I'll get me a chimney full of charcoal, throw it in there, and start putting my splits on top of that.
Okay.
And usually within 40, 50 minutes, everything's cooked down nice and red. From that time, and the pit's warmed up somewhat at that point, and it makes it real easy to manage things. But I
So
like the wood.
yeah, if I always liked wood or lump charcoal would be my, with the pits that I've had, but it was always a live fire type. Very hard to do. Very hard to cook live fire. Matter of fact, I learned it in Texas when I lived in Katy. There was a place just off of, I think it was F 1960. I think it was. It was a farm just before you got to the Safeway out there. There was
Okay,
a farm over on off to the right, I guess it was. And once a year they would do the pit fires, and they would put half a steer on these sticks or metal rods, whatever,
okay.
fire in between, and they would cook them. And you
I'll
would
be
go
darned.
in there, and you could buy. We used to call them a steamship. Okay, that would be like the leg quarter, from the leg coming down into to the first knee, I guess.
Okay.
And you could buy that whole thing, or you could get pieces of it. They would cut
So
it
the
up.
knee to the hip.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And or whatever else you had to buy, some ribs and stuff like that. So my daughter, she was little. She used to love going there. She had a bone that big, and it was fantastic. But it was all wood fired.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so where the fire was, okay, and to where they had the meat up on the steers up on these big rods. Okay, it was quite a few feet away from the fire.
Uh-huh.
So that's, I guess, how they managed the heat from it. And if one wasn't cooking that much, they rake it over. To have a couple guys go in
Yeah.
there and they
Yeah.
rake it up real quick with long rakes. It was quite the thing to see, you know. And how they did it perfect. It was just so it's just not. I remember as a kid, Grumpus, I thought what do you call it? Lighter fluid was barbecue sauce.
I miss
Like,
I miss my dad's lighter fluid hamburgers.
I mean, he squeeze the lighter fluid, and there'd be a flame from 14 feet in the air, and that's when he threw the burgers on or the ribs or something. It was horrible.
But back where I come from, growing up, I mean we're going to fire up the barbecue, and that's what they called, that $10 round grill you bought at the hardware store. Going to fire up the barbecue and throw some chicken on it
Yeah.
or
I
some
mean,
burger.
if
I mean, and we'd do that once or twice a year.
yeah, yeah, he actually built it. My father was pretty handy, but he built one out of block and brick and stuff like that. And I think that we used it twice. And then he took it down. I guess he got out of that. But even with that kind of a pit, lighter fluid was the sauce.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, that was a ritual. Where, I was in Indianapolis, so they get ready. We get up that morning for the race. It was on the radio. It wasn't on TV, but you could hear it on the radio live.
Right.
And may go out there and fire that grill up, and got that flame roaring about 10 feet in the air with a half a bottle of lighter fluid on it. And as soon as it went down where you could get close enough to it, you threw some chicken on it and listen to the race and wait for the chicken to burn up. that was that was our holiday.
Put it out on
Every
the
year, that
table.
was our annual barbecue.
I never forget we had. That's when foot long hot dogs first come out. Okay, I had to be, I don't know, 7, 8 years old, and we had above the ground swimming pool. All
Uh-huh.
right. My father liked his beer and stuff, but he bought these big long hot dogs, and my dad used to make his own knives. Okay, so
Nice.
he had this file that he had stropped down. Okay, cut it down and made this knife. You could shave with this thing. That's how my father was very precise with things. Okay, until he had one too many cans of beer. All right, a bunch of people at the house, and he went over by the pool to wash the knife off inside the pool and dropped it.
Oh no.
Stuck right in the pool. I mean, next thing you know, I'm in the water. I got him chewing gum. trying to, what a mess! What a mess!
That is funny.
But most of the time, growing up with, and we would have an outing at the house or something. It was always my grandmother from back in the city. I was the only one born in New Jersey. Everybody else was born in the city, but she would do a brisket in the oven. Okay,
Yeah.
for a long time. Braised brisket is what it was. And then when she take it out, the fat would come right off it and slice it. It was fantastic and stuff.
Yeah.
So all different cuts of meats and stuff. But back in the day, she boiled everything,
Uh-huh.
especially pork. Right? She would boil the pork, okay, and then take the pork out, give it to El Flamo, my father, light the fluid up, and then we have ribs. You know what I'm saying? But I'm interested in different techniques. We, like I said, basically the same age, the same part, and that's how we grew up. I mean, as far
I
as with
I remember we would have the wiener roast, and Dad would build a big fire out back someplace, and we sit by the fire with our marshmallows and our hot dogs. It may be an old sofa on fire. It could be anything, as long as it had flames on it. We, we had hot dogs hanging over it.
uh, that's too funny. That is too funny. I mean, like I keep saying, oh, get off my lawn and everything like that. I have a lot of good memories of not with food involved.
Yeah.
Okay, with aunts and uncles. I had an uncle. I think he was my godfather, my father's brother, older brother. He lived in the city, but he would come out. He would drive out to our place in New Jersey. We lived out in the sticks, in the middle of dirt roads, the whole bit. My dad built the house from ground up himself. No help, whatever. And my uncle would come down and he would bring in different types of foods. Okay, for us kids and stuff to try and all different stuff. And I never forget that. I mean, he actually took a ham, Grumpus. He took a ham that you could take what do you call them, a micro measurement thing,
Oh yeah, micrometer.
micrometer, and you could see the cuts that he made that were perfect on a ham. Okay, I mean, just completely nuts. I mean, from one extreme to the other. From flamethrower Bob to control freak
We,
Vic.
you were talking about raising the pigs. See, we raised a pig too. My dad, he had just a little under 3 acres, and about a half of it was nothing but fields full of cars and weeds, stuff like that. And somehow he acquired a pig. Don't know the story behind that, but he acquired a pig, and he had an old car back there sitting on the ground. The axles was pulled out of it. It was just a body sitting there, and he chained that door open and put some sheet metal around that car. And we raised that pig in that car for, I guess it was a summer. That they go over to Wonder Bread and buy week old bread for like a nickel a loaf or something like that, and fatten that pig up. So the funny
That's
thing was, my dad and my uncle, it was time to dispatch, and they cut that thing in half and carried that half a pig in and laid it down on my mom's kitchen table. They got a they got a cookbook out that shows the pig with the dotted lines
no.
and commenced to
That's
butchering this thing. They didn't know
that,
what they were doing. I think they got 2 hams and I don't know 200 pounds of sausage or something.
yeah. I mean, that's
And I'll
that's
never
that's
for-
just,
I'll never forget the look on my mom's face when they brought that bloody old thing in and just plopped it down on her kitchen table. And the
some things are
cookbook with the dotted line. I'll never forget that.
some things are burnt into our minds with how things are done. I mean, unbelievable. Completely. So, I mean, like myself, I got into food early on, and then it just never stopped. It just,
Yeah,
from one venture to the other venture to the other venture until I got to the point where the money wasn't there anymore for me to do it commercially and stuff like
yeah.
that. But I still like to do it at home, and I still go back into my mind, some of the recipes and stuff like that. And then YouTube came along. What made you decide to get a camera and start cooking?
Well, Tom, I had been I'd been kicking the idea around for several years, doing a YouTube and all that kind of. Not really, you could never decide exactly what I wanted to do. They don't want to do koi ponds. They don't want to do gardening. You know, cooking. Things like that. And make a long story short, I bought this big pit, and I thought, now's the time to start. If I'm ever going to do it, I need to start right now, the day the pit's delivered, and just take off from there. And that's finally what kicked me in the rear to get it started.
Yeah.
Because I thought,
You,
okay, I can start at the ground. I can start at ground level on this particular cooker. And at that time, nobody was doing videos on Lone Star Grill. Very, very few videos were out. So I thought,
yeah.
okay, I can showcase a grill that's not that common on YouTube and take it from there. So that's what finally pushed me into it. I already
Yeah.
had the camera. I told the wife, but she was worried about the expense and all that. And I said, we've already got a camera sitting in the closet, not being used. I'll buy me a mic. Everything else is here.
Right.
So we did it. I threw my hat in the ring a little bit, had some fun with it. Still having fun with it. Haven't put out a lot of videos here lately, but I'm still enjoying the people I meet. That's the part that took me by surprise was the friends that you can make
Yep.
all over the world that you hadn't even met.
Yeah. Exactly. And
It took me by
that was
surprise.
that was the mind blower for me. All right.
Yep.
The camaraderie, whether they like what you're doing or anything like that. But whatever anybody does on YouTube, let me tell you something. It's not easy to grab a camera. My grandson started me. Okay.
Right.
Pot, you should be on YouTube. Okay. What the hell's YouTube? I knew YouTube was there, but I didn't really realize, what was involved in it, or how many different videos and stuff people are doing, all different kinds of stuff. So when he he filmed me, and it was like a train wreck. It just was, but he was a little
Yeah.
guy, and he's trying to reach up, with doing the whole thing, and I got hooked. The bug bit. Some of my videos, I mean, I should be horsewhipped for even putting them
Oh,
up.
I got a lot of cringe-worthy videos. That's what makes them special to me.
Exactly. So, and then we came together on the dude.
I believe you're right.
The dude, grilling with the dude. He changed his name a couple times, but Mike's a great guy. Mike
Yeah.
is he was pretty even keeled with things.
Yeah.
Reminds me of you a little bit. But no, whatever it is, it'll go away, or don't worry about it. It's not a
Yeah.
big deal.
Well,
Grom,
my friends and family, people that know me, they were shocked because I'm a pretty private guy. I don't like people knowing my business, knowing what's going on. I'm not that outgoing. I mean, people I know like you and stuff like that, but
right.
I'm generally the one standing off to the side, just watching and not doing a lot of talking. And to throw my mug on out there on the internet, they just couldn't get over it. It was me doing that.
And I got to tell you, that right here, that's how you get a hold, watch Grumpus's videos. You need to do it. You need to watch him because, me, everything's quick. Bam, bam, boom, hurry up. I talk 500 miles an hour. I
Oh,
mean,
I'll
just get
put
it
you to
done.
sleep.
Okay? No, 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 no. But the serenity that come with it. I looked at my wife. I said, "Watch this guy. Calm." She looked at me. She says, "Oh, it's going to take an act of God to get you in that same mode like that." But it is relaxing to watch somebody cook something. Okay, and then Mr. Grumpus turned me on to another guy who does brick oven cooking. Okay,
Oh
so it's
yeah.
almost like the same feel. Okay, watching that calming. So I urge you to go watch Grumpus's channel. Okay, check out the fire management. To me was a knockout, but it makes different stuff. It's just not
I like
what did.
I like when things don't go exactly as planned because it gives me an opportunity to show people how to correct it. Don't panic. It's just a little hiccup. Here's how you fix it. Here's how
Yeah.
you make the fire hotter. Here's how you make it cooler. Here, just move it to another spot on the grill. Just don't lose your mind over it. It's only meat. We can save this.
Unlike me, where I take my finger off, and that's Maurice says that's the videos you should be making. Meaning me, chop my finger off. You rat son of a. But
Well, I mean, I've got I've got a couple of videos out where I tried using a fire basket. I got a couple of them, man. I set them things up. They glowed like the sun. I still I still managed to to salvage the cook, and everything still come out good.
yeah,
But
well,
that's
the
what
the
people
but
that's what people want to know. I mean, yeah, when everything goes right, it's fun to watch, and you tell yourself you could do that. But if it don't always go right, something always happens. The
I've
neighbor
learned
comes
a
over, you get stuck at the front door, you forget about your fire, just anything. It never goes as smoothly as the video makes you think it went.
on YouTube. I've learned a lot from you, watching you. Um, your demeanor and stuff like that, and how you get through it. And you always told me people will watch it. Don't rush through it. People will watch your video if they are interested in it. And on top of it, my older grandson, said to me, "Pop, Mr. Grumpus knows what he's talking about. You got to start showing people how to do things rather than just show them how you do it. You got to show them this is how you want to take this,
And
piece of
why?
meat into
Yeah.
exactly, and like a learning curve. And I'm saying, Jesus, they're both 100% right with it.
Well, your
So
grandson's a very smart man.
yes, no, he watches you also. He watches your channel also. I said, whoa. I told him, time out. Time out. Grumpus is our friend. I'm your grandfather. Watch me. You make me nuts, Pop. So it's all good stuff. I mean, and that's how the camaraderie comes to it. And
Well,
we
back to where you said how it started and everything like that. I've got nephews up north that they got their own families now,
mhm.
and they're taking a little interest in what's in cooking outside and stuff like that. And this is a way for me to leave something behind of right or wrong. This is what Grumpus is up to
Right, right.
at any particular time. So
Okay.
one of my one of my most prized possessions is a cookbook that my mother hand wrote, and
Wow.
she had a lot of her old recipes, her mother's recipes, my grandma, and she took the time to sit down and handwrite all these recipes, old recipes from the church, things like that. And she hand wrote, well, I think she did 5 of them, one for each one of us kids.
Wow.
But I mean, if this place caught on fire, that'd be one of the first things I'd grab
Wow.
because
That's
it's the memories behind these dishes. You can remember eating them, smelling them, and now I can do them. And I thought, I'm too lazy to do that, but I could make some videos and leave that behind
wow.
as
Yeah.
as my way of leaving, say, a
It,
cookbook.
yeah. With this channel right here. Well, no, I'm sorry, not this channel. I started another channel. Actually, it was my music channel for when I was playing, just to download music and stuff on it. But I started another one. And what it is I'm going to be doing a cookbook,
Okay,
and it is naming. I'll come up with different recipes, and I'm not calling it anything. I want the viewer to name it, and I'm going to do 12. Like one a month, and then
okay.
whoever comes up with the best name or the more response I get from that, whatever, I'll put it in this digital cookbook. Put their
I
name
got,
into it.
I got dibs on the nine finger tenderloin.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Marie says, "Don't put that up there." I said, "Why?"
I
Okay.
told everybody about it. You should have. You got 1 million views on it. I told everybody. You gotta watch this. It's
She,
right there.
she said, "That's disgusting." I said, "Well, you got to
That's
pay
real life.
attention. You got to pay attention exactly what you're doing because guess what? That's how fast that stuff can happen. I mean,
Exactly.
all my hand. I'm left-handed, so every finger on his hand, I got something missing off the tips, somewhere around there. Okay, people think I'm polite because of this finger right here. Okay, I cut it right in here, the joint. When I drink, I take a cup. Everybody thinks I'm polite. With my finger up in there. Yeah. But it's there again. Live and learn, and you jump right back on the horse again.
It can happen to anybody.
Yeah. So that's teaching it, showing it. Why not? Okay. Look at this fool. He just took his finger off.
Yep.
Yeah. I was waiting for somebody to put it on the bottom and one of the comments. Damn. Too funny. Speaking about the cookbooks, I just watched a video not too long ago. They're the oldest cookbook in the world. I think it was from 1600s. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. And they were cooking a pig. They were doing a pig and open fire the whole bit. I said, "Wow, look at that! How far, that it was documented. The people were doing it."
That's
So,
great.
what's your? We're getting kind of close here. I don't want to keep it too long. Let's go over real quick. What's your favorite foods? We said seafood and stuff like that. But what's your favorite food to cook on your pit?
I enjoy cooking the briskets.
Okay.
But that being said, when people come over, family comes over, everybody wants ribs.
Yeah.
And I enjoy cooking the ribs too, but I don't get to sit as long.
Yeah. Beef ribs or pork ribs? What's your
Generally
take?
pork rib.
Okay.
Now
Baby
the
backs
loan
or
the loan didn't get approved for the beef ribs.
unbelievable. I don't know how restaurants stay in business right now with the prices of it.
Well, you've seen the prices of the restaurants. That's how they're doing it.
Yeah, but I mean they're not busy at all. I mean this is the perfect time for people who actually want to learn how to do stuff.
Yeah.
I I went into the store for Cinco de Mayo. I was going to do a video, but my mindset was for tri-tip. Okay, and what I do is I usually buy them in bulk, just 5 in a pack, a Cryovac. Take them out and trim them up, and I save all the trimmings, but I save the fat. Okay, in a freezer, so when I'm grinding up my own ground beef
Yeah.
for burgers or meatloaf, whatever, I use all that stuff. Well, I got lazy, and I went to the store and I'm looking for the tri-tip, and they had tri-tip, but I'm not going to pay $127 for tri-tip.
Nope.
So I'm saying, this is going to put a crimp in my style here. So I went over and I grabbed, which I never do, went over and I bought pre-packed chopped meat, ground beef, Grumpus, and I knew it. I knew it as soon as I touched it. Okay, Picked it up, and it was like a balloon.
Yeah.
Okay, put it in the cart, get home, and Marie says, "All right, what do you want me to do with it?" I says, "Well, if you can take it apart, flatten it out, and then we'll cut it in squares, vacuum seal it, and put it in the freezer." She she took that thing and she stabbed it and went, "Whoa!" It stunk to high heaven, and it
Oh,
was
I
like
know.
3 days before the sell by date. So I had to take it back, and I'm all the way driving there. Okay, going back to the store in the traffic, and I'm saying, "You dumbass! You never do that. You never buy pre-stuff. You always grind your own." And I'm
Yeah.
talking to myself. I'm out of light, and people must have thought I was talking on the phone. I'm looking at the lady, and she's staring at me. What the hell? But I brought it back in, and sure enough, I gave it to the lady, and they walked over. She said, "Well, if you want to change it," I said, "They're all like that. Everything is was puffy. So
Yeah. Yeah.
you really got to be careful with what you're doing." And
I
like you had
generally
said,
I generally
yeah,
try to catch briskets on sale. When I'll pick up if on a good sale, I'll pick up two or three of them, and I'll grind every single one of them up.
there you go.
I can make enough ground meat and freeze it up, vacuum seal it. It'll last me a year.
Yeah, and that's what I try to tell people is that um, buy the equipment that you're going to need. It's fairly cheap. You can get some of the stuff on Amazon. You can get a
Yeah,
grinder, you can get a vacuum sealer, a whole
I
bit,
got my grinder
and
at the Academy.
yeah, and in the long run, okay, in the long run, you're going to save a ton of money
Well,
because
you're
we don't.
buying brisket. You know, the last time I bought brisket and ground it up, I think it was I don't know, 3.29 a pound or something like that. And right across right across the aisle from it, you're 5.99 for hamburger. You know,
Exactly. Right.
I got some time I can donate to grind my own, and I know what's in it.
Hmm.
No mystery meat in it.
Next time you get one, okay. Uh, I used to do this back in the restaurant. I used to take it, flip it over, okay, and slice it. Probably maybe about an inch thick, but just go through the whole thing and pull that part off it. If I could get another one, and then I take that flat, okay, and I cut that again, and I would use them for steak sandwiches. Hot, fast, can't get. I mean, it's delicious.
I've
You
never
know what I
tried
mean?
that, but I will.
Yeah, give that a shot. Um, well, you know what, my friend, I don't want to keep you too much longer here. I do appreciate you. I really do. You are almost a mentor to me as far as how you do things. You know, take it easy. You always step out of the circle, and you can see me going ah,
We all steal from each other.
and you sort of keep me on my toes. And if I have a problem, I call. Hey, how you doing? Everything like that. And so I cherish your friendship. I really
I
do.
appreciate that. Likewise.
And ladies and gentlemen, please, if you can, go check out Mr. Grumpus. Check out his channel. He's got a lot of good stuff. You did something with a pineapple, didn't you?
No, no.
No, what was that fruit that you cooked with?
Well, I've probably some peaches that I did a probably did a glaze or something on some ribs. I know I've
I, I
used peaches.
I thought you did something with pineapple.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I did. That was a. Oh gosh,
Was it pork? Wasn't it?
it was. I think it was street tacos. Oh yeah, yeah. It was pork. I did pork on a rotisserie, kind of a Jamaican style.
It was a jerk. It was the
Yeah, jerk, kind of a jerk type.
yeah,
And yeah, yeah. I made a pineapple mango salsa to go with it. Came
and
out
that's
real
what I'm
good.
talking about. Out of the box, totally different. I mean,
Uh,
just
check out my uh, my pastrami cook. That came out really good.
yeah, yes, it did. Yes, it really, it really did. There again, take the time, learn how to cook. Watch these people. I mean, come on. All of us we're putting videos out for people to learn how to do things.
And
All
it's
right.
just food. It's
It's
just
this.
food. Don't worry about it. There's no
Yeah.
secret. There's no mystery. Just a little common sense. Pay attention.
Yeah.
So I
What?
mean,
What?
I remember listening to one of the barbecue guys in Austin. He said, if you want to know how to make good brisket, you got to make some bad brisket first.
That's the truth. That is the truth. That is the truth. Because you know what? I do a lot of stuff with cooks from around the world. Okay,
Uh-huh.
and they send, let's go to Yemen. Let's go to this place, that place, and basically it's the food is all the same. Most of the ingredients are all the same. It's just how it's cooked. It's just how
Yes.
you do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it is really, I mean, tacos from Mexico or Spain. You go into Greece and it's flatbread.
Yes.
So it's all relative to what it's doing. So when people say, "Oh, I don't know how to cook," and this and that, learn. It's very simple. Really,
Yeah.
really,
Just
really.
jump in.
So, all right, everybody, thank you. I really do appreciate it, Mr. Grumpus. Thank you, sir.
Thanks for having me on. It's been fun. Been my pleasure.
I really do appreciate you. Please go check out his channel and like and subscribe. And we're going to try to do this maybe every other week from the Sunday Dinner Chef. And just fun, just food talk. And maybe next time I'll have Mr. Grumpus up and somebody else and we'll grill somebody. All right, everybody, thank you so much. Hit that like, subscribe button. See you next week. Take care.
Thank you very much.
The Sunday dinner chef will always care for you.